Welcome back to C programming language. C programming is an evergreen programming language. So we learn the C programming language in first year computer science. So in C programming we have many concepts, starting from data types to pointers. So we have learned data types and tokens, operators, selection statements, and what was our last topic? In last video lesson we have learned about functions. So functions was also a derived data type. So what is the data type? A data type is a value which tells what kind of value you can store into your program. That means in your memory location, and what kind of operations you can perform into those with that kind of values. So we have primitive data types, derived data types, user-defined data types. So the primitive data types are the data types which are defined in C library. So the primitive data types are integer, float, character, double. They are already defined in C library. So C library can understand those data types. So based on those data types, we derive a new kind of data types. They are called as derived data types. So one of the derived data type is function. So we call function as a derived data type because we written something with the function. So in syntax of functions, we write written type. So it tells that if we write any kind of function, it performs some task. So on which data type it performs the task, that tells the written type. So we written integer, either float or character or double. So function, depending on the written type, we call it as derived data type. So here comes a new topic that we are going to learn in today's video lesson is an array. So array is a derived data type because here we can group all related kind of information at one place. Like we have 4 types of primitive data types, right? Integer, float, char, and double. So we can group all integers together, or all floats together, or all characters together, or all doubles together. Suppose if you want to group all the prices together, suppose if you have 10 items, if you want to tell price 1, price 2, price 3, price 4. So all the prices can be of double type. So you have to mention it as price 1, price 2, price 3, price 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If in case, if you want to tell this for 100, so you have to write a double data type for all the 100 prices. So instead of that, we have a data type called an array where you can group all related data at one place. So instead of declaring them or accessing them differently, either 100 or 1000 or 10,000, we can group them into a one variable and we can access using indexing. This is done in an array. So let's see an array. What does an array do? So an array is used to store a collection of data. As I've said, if I am talking about prices of 10 books, so I can group all the 10 books prices into one place. That is, it is a collection of variables of the same type. I can group all the prices at one place. If I want to group all the characters at one place, right? All the grades. If I am talking about the students' grades, so I can group all the grades at one place. So it's an array of characters, right? So in other words, an array is also defined as it's a collection of homogeneous data elements. What is the meaning of homogeneous? Homogeneous is nothing but the similar, or it's the same kind of thing. So similar elements can be grouped together so that it will be given a single name, and it can be accessed with only a single name. Clear? So I have taken an example. Suppose if we have numbers from 1 to 100. So what do we write? We have to write integer 1, integer number 1, integer number 2, integer number 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on up to 100. So instead of that, I have a concept called an array where all the 100 numbers can be grouped at one place, and I can give it a name as an array of numbers. It tells that it's a group of numbers, and I can access all the 100 numbers using indexing. Using indexing, I can access all the array elements. So it accesses from number 1 to number 100. Here in C language, array elements are accessed from 0 to n-1, where n is nothing but the array size. As I've told, if an array has 100 numbers, so the size of that array will be 100. So I can access it as, if it is numbers, so I can access it as numbers of 0 to numbers of 99. So 0 is my first element, whereas 99 is my nth element, 100th element. So instead of declaring individual variables such as numbers 0, number 1, and so on up to number 99, you declare one array variable such as numbers, array variable numbers. You can give it as name as numbers, and one array variable such as numbers, and use numbers 0 for first variable, numbers 1 for second variable, and so on up to number 99 for 100th variable to represent individual variables. Simply you understand that you can group everything into one place. If you want to show 100 books at one place, so you have to, it reduces your work. If you want to write about 100 books, you have to write it as book 1, book 2, book 3, and so on. You have to declare it. Instead of that, you can make it as books group, array of books, and you can access it as book 0, book 1, book 2, book 3, and so on up to book 99. So that is the concept is here, right? So let's continue. So a specific element. So here we use an indexing. We use an indexing here. The meaning of indexing is we just make it as square braces with the index number, that means the location number. So the first location in C language, arrays, the first location is taken as 0. So array of 0, that means numbers of 0. So a specific element in an array is accessed by an index. So you can see here like this, the indexing can be done like this. Numbers of 0, numbers of 1, numbers of 2, and 3, and so on. So this will be done up to n-1. If you have 1000 elements, so 1000 minus 1. Because you have started from 0. So 0 to n-1. That will become n numbers. So all arrays consist of contiguous memory locations. The meaning of contiguous is sharing the common wall side by side. Immediately after number 0, it is number 1, number 2, and number 3, and so on. So it is continuous locations are shared, right? So the lowest address corresponds to the first element. This is the lowest address, and the highest address to the last element. It will be the n-1th element. n-1th element. So this is called indexing. It is the greatest advantage of arrays because you can access third element with 3 minus 1, array name with 3 minus 1, which is nothing but 2. right? Like this, you can access your array elements. So advantages of that arrays. So what are the advantages of arrays? Arrays can be array is a simplest data structure. Data structure is nothing but it is a concept of computer science where it says we have different kinds of data structures available in computer science where you can store and you can retrieve it tells the concepts of how you can store the data and how you can retrieve the data. Retrieve means take out the data. So it tells how you can store the information and how you can access the information. So the arrays are simplest of all the data structures. That is the first advantage. Array is the simplest kind of data structure. And next, it is relatively easy to create. It is easy to create. That means start, understand, and implement an array. Comparing to other data structures, it is easier to implement an arrays. And the third advantage is in arrays, direct access to any element is possible. As we have seen, I have told you, numbers of 3, it indicates it's the fourth element. You can directly access the fourth element using 4 minus 1. Array name followed by 4 minus 1. That indicates that's the number's name. So using indexing, you can access any number directly. That is the beauty of arrays. Next, however, modifications done to one element does not affect the other because every element is individual, every element is located at individual locations at number 0, number 1, number 2, number 3 and so on. So if you make any change to number 2, it does not make any effect to number 1 or number 3. So each element is different on its own, right? So arrays have capability of linking data together. That means they can club the data together, especially with multiple dimensions. Remember, here we have seen the numbers are from 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. This is like only one axis. So here this is called a one-dimensional array, one way of storing an element continuously. The other way, we can store the element in 2 dimensions also. Simply, I can give you an example of x and y axis graph. X axis, you will be having the values, as well as y axis also you will be having the values. So in x axis, you will storing the values. So that is one dimension. In y axis, another dimension. Same way, you can have perpendicular lines to already existing axes. So like that, in mathematics, you have learnt about dimensions. Like that, we can have any number of dimensions of arrays in C language. There is no limit of dimensions in C language. Depending on the compiler, it ranges in many ways. Okay. So let's continue. So first we have to learn the syntax, how to declare an array. Array has to be declared, right? Declaration means indicating to the compiler that I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this. So what you are going to use? What kind of things you are going to use? Simply, array is also a data type, right? So we are going to tell the compiler that I'm going to use a data type. What is the name of your data type? That means the variable which you are going to use is the array name. So what kind of array it is? We said that arrays can be group of any primitive data type. So it tells the type. It tells the type. Whether it can be an integer, it can be a float, char, or double. It can be a group of anything. So how many numbers you can group, that you can tell here. So your array will be telling the data type, followed by the name of an array, followed by the number of elements are allowed into your array. So you are telling to the compiler that I am going to have a variable, array variable. I am going to have an array of this name, of this type, right? and with this size. So if suppose if it is a character array, so it allocates, then if it is 10, so it allocates 10 bytes of memory, because each character stores at 1 byte. So it stores 10 bytes of memory. It allocates, compiler allocates as 10 bytes of memory. So simply you can see this example. So integer, so it is of type integer. So what is my array name? A. And what is the size of array? 10. So with this declaration, compiler allocates me 20 bytes of memory locations, which is contiguous. The meaning of contiguous is sharing the common wall. That means side by side. They reside side by side. So they store the information one by one after the other. So here an array A is allocated with 10 into 2 bytes. 2 because you are using here an integer. If you are using here a character, it allocates only 10 bytes. As it is an integer, it stores 10 into 2 bytes. 20 bytes of memory will be allocated to you so that you can access your array elements. So double. So balance is an array name here. It is of type double, and it also allows 10 balances. So you can access here balance 0, balance 1. You can access here balance 0, balance 1, balance 2, and so on up to balance 9. Right? So the values can be only from 0 to 9. Right? Let's continue. Initializing an array. Array can be initialized in two ways. One way is directly you can give the values. Suppose if this is my array, double is the data type. It's my value. Balance is my array name. So it allows 5 values. So this is my first value. So it is at balance 0, balance 1, balance 2, balance 3, balance 4. So 5 values are allocated. So the number of values between braces, open and close braces, cannot be larger than the number of elements that we declare for the array between square brackets. That means whatever we declare in square brackets, that indicates the size of the array. So the number of values cannot be exceeded out of those values. If the value is 5, it can be below the 5, but it cannot exceed the 5. Right? This is one way of initializing an array. We have another way using for loop that I will explain in the further. So this is another example. If you have not given any size, that means if you have not declared any size to the compiler, that means you can have any number of values into your array. So if you omit the size of the array, that means if you have not given the size of the array, an array just big enough to hold the initialization is created. So it is big enough until it is created. That means whatever the values you give, that can be created. So that means you are initializing the values. So what you are initializing, 1000 is initialized at balance 0, balance 1, balance 2, balance 3, and 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you will create exactly the same array as you did in the previous example, that is directly initializing balance of 5. Following is an example to assign a single element of an array. So this indicates the balance is an array of size 5. So it indicates, the size is limited to 5 elements according to the initialization. So otherwise directly you can give balance of 4, which is nothing but the 5th location can be allocated by using 50. Right? This is another way. So accessing an array elements. How we can access an array elements? We have discussed it already. Using an index, we can access our array elements. So an element is accessed by indexing the array name. Suppose if it is balance is an array name, So we can access it as balance 0, balance 1, balance 2, balance 3, and so on up to balance of n minus 1. If it is numbers, we can access it as numbers of with square brackets. So this is done by placing the index of the element within square brackets after the name of the array. So you can see directly here, double of salary. This salary can be, this is of type double. So from where you can get it, balance of 9. So you can get the 10th value into salary. So you can access the 10th value by making use of balance of 9. So the above statement will take the 10th element from the array and assign the value to salary variable. So you can access any element by making use of array name followed by square bracket. Within that, values number minus 1, because 10th value you want, so you have to access it as 10 minus 1, because you are starting your array from 0, right? So here is an example, a simple example I have taken so that you can understand how the arrays will work. So include #include stdio.h. This is for including standard input output header files. Integer main, I have taken integer main so that I have to write return 0, because the calling function expects something. For that I have to return 0. So integer n of 10. So what is my array name here? N of 10 integers. So I have given the comments also. N is an array of 10 integers, and I have taken 2 loop variables. I want to use for loops here. So for loops I am taking 2 variables, that is I and j. As I am using these 2 variables for looping, I am calling it as loop variables I and j. So first loop, initialize elements of array n to 0. So starting from 0 to 10. So I am taking for I equals to 0 and I up to 10, that means 9. So n of I. So what is n of I? N of 0. So first element will be I plus 100. What is my I here? I is 0 already. So 0 plus 100. So what is my n of I? 100. So n of 0 is 100. So my first location is indicated as 100. N of 0 is 100. So the value assigned is 100. So next what it will do? The loop will be continued. So next what happens? I value will be incremented by 1. So 1 is less than 10. So the condition is true. It goes into the loop. N of 1 equals to 1 plus 100. So what is the next value assigned? 1 or 1. 101. So next my I value is incremented by 1. So I plus 1 again. So 1 plus 1, 2. So 2 is less than 10. So n of 2 equals to 2 plus 100. So 102 is assigned for n of 2. And 3, 103. 4, 104. 5, 105. 6, 106. 7, 107. 108, 109. Will it assign if the I value is 10? No, it will not go into the loop. You cannot access n of 10. You can work from n of 0 to n of 9. Right? This is indexing. So set element at location I to I plus 1. So at location I, you are assigning I plus 1. So next, so output each array element's value. You have assigned n of 0 to 100, n of 1 to 101, n of 2 to 102, and so on up to 109. 100 to 109 you have assigned. So everything you want to print it on. So for j equals to 0, j less than 10, element of percentile d, that means for j equals to 0, what is the value I am taking here? J. So for element of 0, you are assigning n of j, that means n of 0. N of 0 is nothing but this number again. You are accessing the same array. N is nothing but the same array. So n of 0. So what was that? So element 0 will be 100. Element 1, you are incrementing your j value also. So when j is incremented by 1, element 1 will be 101. Element 2 will be 102, 103, 104, 105, and so on up to j value becomes 9. right? So you can see the output. So element 0 is 100, element 1 is 101, 2 is 102. So you can access only from I value 0 to 9, right? And this is an output, only it is from J value 0 to 9. So you can print 100 to 109. Hope you got it, right? So we'll continue. There are 3 types of arrays are there. That is one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array, multi-dimensional array. As I have told you, multi-dimensional means it comes from 3 dimensions to any number, n-dimensional arrays. According to the compiler, depending on the compiler, it supports. So let's see what are the one-dimensional. One-dimensional means singular, only one line, what we have seen till now. So one-dimensional array, a list of elements can be given a variable name using only one subscript. One subscript means only one index, and such a variable is called a one-dimensional array. Such a variable is called a one-dimensional array. Till now, whatever we have seen, balance or element or numbers, whatever the examples we have seen, they all comes as one-dimensional array. Only one subscript. We have seen numbers of 0, numbers of 1, balance of 0, balance of 9, and elements of 0. So only one subscript means one-dimensional array. Only one line. So the declaration form of one-dimensional array is, it is already we have seen. It tells the type of an array, followed by name of an array, followed by the size. It followed by the size, right? So let's see, it is another way of initializing one-dimensional array. So simply hash include stdio.h void main integer a of 10. So I have taken an array of a. Here I have taken 10 elements. So integer I, only one looping. So for one looping, so I am asking enter array elements. I want to read the elements from the user, any number of elements. Suppose if I want to read 100 marks, 100 student marks, so 100 numbers. So enter elements. So for I equals to 0, here I am taking only, as the size is 10. So this also we can mention, enter the size. Because you can have students of 10 or 10, 20 or 100 or 200. So this here I have taken it as only 10. Otherwise you can have the students also. So 10 students I++. So read the values. Actually this should be a smaller number. It's my typo error. So scanf, you cannot access this in compiler. Okay, scanf %d, as this is an integer, address of a of I. A is my array name, whereas I is indexing. So this indicates at the first location a of 0. So it indicates it is at a of 0. So it repeats, scanf repeats for A0, next A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, A8, A9. Will it take A10? No, because my looping is from 0 to less than 10. That means it allows only the numbers from 0 to 9. Okay. So this is for taking input. Next. So entered array elements. For I equals to 0 to 10, 0 to 10, you print the numbers whatever you have read. Okay, entered numbers will be printed out onto your screen. Okay, so this will be your output. So the entered elements will be 8765342019. So what are the elements entered? 8765342019. these elements will be printed out. Okay, this is the way how you can read the elements and how you can write the elements onto the screen. So next, two-dimensional array. So in two-dimensional array, you have to mention two dimensions. As the definition indicates, if the array name followed by two subscripts, see here, I have two subscripts, size 1 and size 2. This size 1 indicates row size, this size 2 indicates column size, number of rows and number of columns. So similarly, I have an array. So rows are nothing but, you can imagine a matrix here, number of rows and number of columns. So we say the number of rows and we say the number of columns. So it is given with the array name followed by the number of rows and followed by number of columns. So it is also same concept. So data type will be mentioned. Either it can be an integer array, or it can be a character array, or it can be float array. So I have an integer array of name 2 dimension. So I have 4 rows, 3 columns. Okay, so I'll just continue. So here I have taken another array, ARR, array name, where 3 rows, 4 columns. You can see the figure, right? So a way to initialize the two-dimensional array at the time of declaration is given below. So it is initializing, that means adding the values. So integer array of 3 by 4. So 3 rows, 4 columns. This is the figure I have shown you. So x equals to, this is 0, 1, 2. If I take a loop variable here, it is 0, 1, 2. Whereas my loop variable, here also I will take 2 with loop variables. So it is 0, 1, 2, 3. So j also from 0 to n minus 1. So here you can take it as m by n. M for rows, n for columns. So you can write it as m number of rows and n number of columns. So this location you can access as this is your 0. When you write it as I equals to 0, 1, 2. Actually 3 rows, but your m value is number of rows are less than 1. Rows must be number of, because it starts from 0. So 0, so 0th location, this is 0. So x 0, 0. So the subscripts are given like this, 0, 1, 0, 2, because this is 0th row. So x0, j, I0, j0, j1, I is 0 for all these values. J is 2, J is 3 here. J value is ranging from 0 to n minus 1. What is your n here? 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. Next. So the allocation will be done like this. First all these 4 elements will be allocated, then followed by all these 4 elements will be allocated. Then your I value is incremented by 1. So for I equals to 1, j value again started from 0, 1, 2, 3, n minus 1. And your I value is incremented by 1. So I is 2, j is 0, 1, 2, 3. Your I value must be up to m minus 1. Your m is 3. So it is only up to 2. Right? Hope you have understood this. So I'll just tell you a simple example for reading and writing the values onto the screen. So let's go with Turbo C++. So hash include std io dot h, hash include conio dot h, void main integer n of 10 comma I, right? So printf enter array elements. For I equals to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, scanf percentile d comma address of n of I. So it is an index. So this is for reading. Next, what I have to do, I have to write the elements onto the screen. Printf entered elements. So I have to write the for loop again. All the elements it has to print out, right? So for I equals to 0 to I less than 10, I plus plus, printf percentile n comma, what are the numbers I have to print? Percentile d comma, from where should I get the numbers? N of I. Get ch, close. So I will save this. p1.c. Hope it is already there. So overwrite. So Alt F9 for compilation. No errors. Control F9 for execution. No errors. Enter array elements. So suppose I have given 8, 9, 5, 6, 4, 4, 3, 9, 1, 2, same numbers whatever I have entered, 8, 9, 5, 6, 4, 4, 3, 9, 1, 2 are printed on, right? So this is reading and writing an array elements onto the screen. Okay, so let's just have another thing. So I will make it as 2 by 3 matrix. Okay, so I want 2 loop variables, right? So enter array elements. For I equals to I is calculated for n, right? So n is, so I is up to 2, right? So read the values I, j. For j equals to 0 to j less than 3, j plus plus. For I equals to 0, the meaning is, see here, for I equals to 0, it goes in, j equals to 0. So for n 0, 0, it reads the value. Okay, next j value will be incremented. So n0 j1. So next number will be taken in. Next n0 as I0 j1 j2. Okay, only up to j2 it will read. So up to next for I equals to 1, the loop will be repeated. So all the elements are taken in. So entered elements. So for I equals to 2 again. For j equals to 0, j less than 3, j plus plus, so here we have to do printf percentile t, right? So F2 alt F9, there is an error, compound statement missing. What was that? Here I have opened, I have not closed it, right? For loop I have opened it, I have not closed it, so it is showing. So F2, yes, alt F9, no more errors, compilation, control F9, no errors, enter array elements. So how many elements I have to enter? 2 by 3, 6 elements. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Actually, I have to take out here. So alt F9, control F9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 2, 3, 4, first row, 5, 6, 7, second row. Got it? So first row element, second row element. If we want perfectly, we can write here /t here, and we can make it as /n here. So alt F9, control F9. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now it is perfect, right? 2, 3, 4 elements, 5, 6, 7 elements. Clear? So entered array elements. So can you imagine, this is similar like our matrix, 2 by 3 matrix. So with this, we'll stop here. So multi-dimensional array, it takes any number of arrays. Okay. So hope you have understood this and hope you have enjoyed this session. So we'll continue with, followed by the next 2 important questions, matrix addition and matrix multiplication, because as we have learnt arrays, so we can continue with matrix addition and matrix multiplication, which is very much important for your university examination.